Hello everyone, it's Sarah here. I'm sharing today my cover for the Gorjuss mini art journal challenge that my friend Amira from Amira in Oz is doing. So I have made this 4x6 inch art journal and I'm going to get to work decorating the cover of it here. I'll put the link down below for Amira's YouTube channel where she's hosting this challenge. So to start with, I just mixed some colors. I've decided that for each of my pages I'm going to sort of go monochromatic and use just similar tones of the one color. So for this front cover I've sort of gone with some pink tones. Sorry, I lost my words there. So I'm just mixing some acrylic paints here. I've got a hot pink. I tried to get sort of a bubblegum purple pink, but it came out more purple than anything else, so I don't end up using that one. I've got a really pale pink that's almost white, and I've got kind of a red tone pink. So then I just go in with this hot pink fuchsia color. I just put that on all over the front of the cover using a sponge, so it's a little bit more even coverage than if you were to use a brush. My cover's just made out of some craft cardstock, so sort of nice and sturdy, holds up to the painting. So I dry that with the heat gun there, and then I go in with my next layer. So this is a stamp. I believe this is from Kaszazz, and I use the really pale color just to stamp that across the page. I like stamping with paints in mixed media and art journaling. And I was a bit worried about how the light color would go on top of the dark, but it worked really well and I really liked it. So next I just stamp this gorgeous girl here. I will put the name down below of her. And so I just stamped her using black archival ink just on some white watercolor paper, and then I use my Prima Confections to color her in. And again, I'm using the pink tone, so I had to mix a few different colors, and you know, they're only subtle, but I kind of like this theme. So I paint her, and then I fussy cut her out to go on the journal page. So once she's cut out, I play with the placement of her on my cover. I decide I want her to feature kind of in the middle there. I then decide to stamp out the word perspective. So Amira had this great idea for her cover to put on her word for 2018, which for her was evolve. And I'm not really one to pick a word for the year, but this year I did actually have one, and that word is perspective. So before I get stamping, I play with how I'm going to fit it. I wanted the word to go across the page, but it wouldn't quite fit, so I decided to run it down the left-hand side there instead. And so this time I use the light-coloured acrylic paint that I've got there. So this is sort of, it's even lighter than the one I used on the first stamping, and it's Nelly white, but it is just the slightest pale pink. And I'm really loving how these different layers are coming together. So after that is all stamped there, I decided to put 2018 down the bottom there. These letter and number stamps are just ones I've had in my stash, but I play with where that is, and then I use this stencil. So this is a Kaisercraft stencil that I decide to use, and I just go in with some Tim Holtz texture paste. And I love the consistency of this, and it's just white, so I play with where I'm going to put my Gorjuss girl so that I have some of this texture paste sort of covering a lot of the spaces that will be left. And like I said, it's white, so I decided I didn't want it to actually be white. So after drying it, I go in with just a little bit of this color, and it's actually the same color as the background, but it's just got a slightly more red tone in it. So again, you can kind of see the different colors coming out there. I was going to leave some bright, but I end up kind of just playing with the colors. There's little tiny dots in the middle that I give an extra color so that it's sort of like flowers, Nelly. I decided that I needed the words to stick out a little bit, so I grabbed my Copic grey felt tip pen, and I just go around those letters there. So I didn't want to use black because I'm trying to go monochromatic. I didn't want this big black outline, but I did think they needed to stand out a little bit because I'd used some of that color on the background stenciling with the texture paste. I didn't want it to blend in too much, so I just went around that. Then it was time to stick my Gorjuss girl down, so I have just used some Tim Holtz Ranger multi-matte medium to glue her down, and then you can go, I went over the top as well to kind of seal her all in and give her a nice finished look. And so that there is my cover for my Gorjuss mini art journal done. Thank you so much, Amira, for inspiring me. I am a little bit behind. I was supposed to make this in January, but I'm going to catch up, and I can't wait to share more pages with you. Bye for now. I'll be back to share my first page soon.